So welcome back to Full of Shit. I actually really fucked up. This time what we're going to be talking about is how I handled somebody's telling me about a sexual assault.
Full of shit. This is the segment where I share shitty thought with shitty production value and then for some other reason, Full of Shit is a good title. Full of shit.
So I actually have an audio issue here. This is not a video that I can re-record though. I've done my best to fix it. You should probably use headphones. Thanks. Let's go. And sorry.
Obviously I'm publishing this with her permission. Not recording it with her permission, but I am going to wait to have her permission to publish it.
You might have some trouble following what I do in this part of the video. Basically, there was a girl. She and I really liked each other. And there was a week that we had where we weren't speaking. And then we had a big reconciliation where we talked about everything. And then the next night, she told me that she had sex with someone during that week.
And she didn't explain immediately what had happened. And so I told her I needed some space. So we weren't in a relationship, so I knew I couldn't be mad at her about doing that, but I was mad that she didn't tell me the night before. She started crying. She said she wants to talk. I said, no, not right now. You need to leave. We were supposed to talk about this kind of stuff last night. Saw her the next day. She essentially explained what had happened. So she and her friend go to a bar and they meet two guys. Her friend likes one of the guys, so they all go back to one of the guys' apartments. My friend was tired, and there were no more trains anymore, so she told her guy, out of the two guys, that she was going to go to sleep, but that she wasn't going to sleep with him. Physically sleep in the same bed, yes. So they both had their sides of the bed. And then she's half awake at one point, and he's kissing her. They're kissing. So she kisses him back. And then as she starts to wake up more, he gets on top of her, and they're having sex. And she is a little bit taken aback. She doesn't really know what's going on. And then the other guy, so her friend's boy, knocks on the door or something anyway. So then my friend, she gets up, and she says no, she gets up, she gets dressed, she leaves. So I told her that I was really sorry that this happened to her, and I felt a bit bad about not having heard her out the night before. The thing that I was also thinking was that the night before, when she had told me that she had had sex but not given me these details, that she could have, but she didn't. So these are just the things that are going through my mind, and I don't think that I'm wrong for having these thoughts. But where I really fucked up was, I kind of thought out loud. I said to her, based on the way that you actually mentioned it to me last night, I'm wondering whether this is actually what happened, what you're telling me now. I said I'm thinking that it's like 75% what you're telling me now, and then 25% maybe something else. Essentially saying that she was lying about what had happened. Yes, I fucked up. This is a real Full of Shit video because this one's serious, and so I feel really bad about that. She walked out of that conversation, and I told her to come back, and I apologized. Here's why I was wrong. So on the one hand, if she's worried that I'll be upset about something, we'll sugarcoat things. And so based on the fact that she hadn't told me immediately these details when she could have the night before, I thought, okay, maybe now she's trying to sugarcoat things. That is a factual possibility. However, first of all, it wasn't the time to say that. You do not express doubt. But second of all, it was stupid of me to think that there was an inconsistency between her mentioning that something happened the night before without going into detail, and then these details being true. I was like, well, if she had sex with someone and it was basically assault, why not just tell me immediately? And that's because we don't have a culture that is particularly receptive to that kind of thing. So when I said, I need you to leave, I'm not ready to hear about this right now. And then she said, wait, no, it was rape. Well, that's a big thing, that's a big accusation to make, and we are not particularly encouraging as a culture of that accusation. And then it wasn't an aggravated rape. And so then she would have to feel like, wait, and then I'm gonna have to backpedal and say, well, like I did kiss him back. And then she might think that I might say, well, which is it? You know, what happened? Are you crying rape? That's in no situation would I say, oh, are you crying rape or what? But because we do have a culture where that happens, it is reasonable for her consciously to have reservations about using the rape word to get my attention. Rape, for me, is an accurate description of what happened. But if she didn't have, if I wasn't really listening to her and she had to use like one word to get my attention, I would understand that she would be very apprehensive about saying rape. And also she felt guilty about it because she kissed him back. It's absurd. He took advantage of the fact that she was asleep and of the fact that we have a social protocol to kind of kiss someone back when we are not viscerally repulsed by the situation or the person. So if you kiss someone in the street, they're not going to necessarily kiss you back. They're not. But if you're lying in bed with someone, there's a certain context for a protocol where you kiss a person back. That's one reason that it is not inconsistent for this to be true and for her not to have told me immediately. Because she doesn't really know how to present it, what to call it. Another thing is that she was surely still processing and didn't want to seem like she was evading responsibility by saying that just straight up saying he assaulted me. Again, let me repeat that I believe that this was a sexual assault, and I'm going to deal with that. And that's why also, when women don't come forward immediately, we have a tendency to think that it might not be true. Like, if a guy beats me up in the street, and he was a big guy or something, and he mugged me, I'm going to go tell people immediately. Why isn't that the same case for sexual assault? Well, because I would have the bruises and the lack of money as evidence for what had happened. She doesn't. She went into the bedroom and it becomes he said, she said. 2, I didn't walk up to this person who mugged me and say, hey, look, I have money.
Wait.
If I had, it would have still been a mugging. If he said, hey, can I have maybe some money? I was like, yeah, maybe.
Wait. No. I actually fucked that up because I was speaking generally. No, in this actual situation with my friend, it was much more like the guy comes up to me while I got my money in my hand. I'm looking away. He starts grabbing it out of my hand. I go... And so my hand, he's kind of pulling my hand, and I'm letting him pull my hand for a second, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening? Hold on, stop. Okay? And yeah, all right. Continue, Eris.
And then he leaves with that money, having penetrated my vagina. That is robbery, that is sexual assault. I hope you're following me, because I know this is a little bit difficult for me to confess. And so and these full of shits, I want them to be like a raw thing. It smells fucking terrible. Either way, in the case of the mugging, I'm going to be believed. There is an inclination to trust the victim. Whereas for sexual assault, it isn't the same thing. Consciously, she knows how I would respond to something like that, but unconsciously, she's of course going to have reservations. I think I've made it pretty clear why I fucked up and what we need to move towards for humans. We need to not be so visually resistant to the claim that someone has sexually assaulted someone else. We need to listen. I don't know that guy. This is the same thing with my police story. When I've told people my police story, which I know I haven't told you yet, the Cicero incident, when I've told people, friends of mine, my own brother, they were like, yeah, but that doesn't really make sense to me. You must have done something. What? You know me. You know that you can trust me. You don't know this police officer. This guy's a stranger. And yet somehow his badge makes you think that he might be more trustworthy, and I'm somehow manipulating the fact. And yet, what's so crazy is that when I tell someone a story about how someone wronged me, someone who is basically an equal, right, a co-worker, how they did this thing, you don't ask me any questions about what I did, and it actually drives me crazy, because I'll tell somebody about a situation, they'll be like, oh my god, that bitch said what? I'm like, hang on, there is more context, like I did do this. And they're like, no, but they really like, but you, of course you did that makes sense, and this person is a bitch for doing that. We're so ready to side with the storyteller, right, when we hear stories about a conflict. Unless the storyteller had interacted with a person with a badge, in which case we afford more credibility to that person with a badge. But, like, why? There's no part of, like, the police academy that involves honesty and so on. There's psychological screening, but you fucking know me. You have screened me. And it's the same thing with assault. But what is the badge of the other person with whom the woman had this negative interaction? It's his masculinity. It's the fact that he's a man.
And that's fucked up.
And so that is our privilege as men, that in these kind of that these situations that are not ambiguous can be interpreted more than one way and are willfully done so. So I really fucked up. And that's more serious than believing that there is no God. In her vulnerability, I expressed to her doubt about what happened based on what I considered a behavioral discrepancy, based on her not telling me immediately. But I've never experienced that. I don't know what would be going on in my head if I had this kind of situation. Not to mention if I were a woman and therefore had been socialized to not wear a short skirt, and if I do, to know what I'm asking for and stuff. I am sorry to my friend. I am sorry. I'm sorry that the culture is the way it is. I'm sorry for the patriarchy, and I hope that this video can do something for somebody. Some guy who's watching this can be like, okay, he came from where I am mentally, and now he is there, and I hope you follow my reasoning. Thanks.